What's up? What's up? It's your man Jimmy Chan. All right, so I'm given this function to go ahead and graph, but it's based on my so-called parent function. So if I was to look at a parent function, so let's call it g of x, just because this is already saying f of x, so we'll call it g of x. This is similar to 1 over x, right? Only reason why I know is because this is 1 over some kind of x minus blah, blah, blah. So from here, what I would do is I'm just going to make a table. So I'm going to go ahead and make a table for x values and y values. And I'm just going to pick 3 points, 4 points. Well, in this case, probably with this, probably better idea to do 6 points actually. And this is not any, it's not trying to make you guys do more work. It really is to see a better graph. Okay. So this is my y value, which is going to be 1 over x. So let's say I have, how do I want to do this? Let's go, all right, let's do negative 2, -1, -1/2, and now I'm going to go positive side, 1/2, 1, and 2. Now, I know it seems like a lot, but I'm not expecting you guys to necessarily do this, but I want you guys to understand why I'm doing this. All right, so if I put 1 over -2, it's going to be -1/2. If I put 1 over a -1, it's going to give me a -1. If I put -1 over -1/2, I'm actually going to get a -2. Put 1 over 1/2 is actually going to give me a +2. Put 1 over 1 is going to be 1, and 1 over 2 is going to give me 1/2. Okay, so you guys can see that. And notice what happened as well, right? These are negative y values and these are positive y values. So if I was to go ahead and throw in a graph right here, right? What is this going to look like? Now, why did I not put 0 in there? Because 1 divided by 0 would be undefined. So that's why it's not going to work. So -2 is going to be -1/2. -2 is going to be -1/2. So right there. At -1, it's going to be -1. And at -1/2 is going to be -2. All right. So what is this graph going to look like? It's going to look something like this. Not like that. Or that. Or that. Or that. Okay. There we go. All right. We'll call it that. We'll call it close to this. Okay. It's going to look something like that. And then the other side is going to be at 1/2 is going to be 2. At 1 is going to be 1, and at 2 is going to be 1/2. So it's exactly the same thing, except now I have to flip this. One, two, three. This is all the way up here. Try to make sure the curve doesn't go back. Okay, something like that, okay? So that is the graph that I currently have, right? So obviously and the reason why I'm choosing so many is because I have fractions in here. So now I'm gonna have well, I guess either way I'm going to have fractions, right? No matter if I do it this way or this way, I'm going to have fractions. So let's go ahead and pick, and let me do this as well since I have some space on the right there. Let me go ahead and take this and really shift this over here. All right. So that I can at least write some points here. Let's go ahead and pick this 6. Let's pick 4 of these. So let's go -2 comma -1/2. I guess I only have space for 3. Well, I'm going to have -1, 1, and I'm going to have 1, 1. All right, and let's go ahead and stick with those 3. All right, so let's see what happens there. All right, so what do I do first? So when I look at this, I have to look at it as that this is telling me to do the denominator first, because I have to get the denominator first to be one number so that I can do 1 divided by that. Then I can add it to the 5, right? So that is the same as having a parentheses. So the first thing it tells me to do is do a shift right to, so I do a shift 2 units, or a shift right 2 units, okay? Because everything inside the parentheses is backwards, right? And it only affects the x value. So since it is -2, I have to add 2 to the x value. So when I add 2, what happens? I'm going to have a 0. I'm going to have -1/2 still. I'm going to have a 1, 1. And I'm going to have a 3, 1. All right? Now, the next thing I'm going to have to do, the parentheses done, so I don't actually have to do the divide because this mimics this right here of the parent function. So this is supposed to be 1 over x, and this is basically 1 over x. So the next thing I have to do is actually the +5. So that tells me to shift up 5 units. Okay, so that's telling me to shift up 5 units, and it's outside the parentheses, so it's affecting the y value, and it's straightforward. So I'm now going to add 5 to the y value. Okay, so when I look at that, I'm going to have 0, and let me see, half plus 5, I'm going to get what? 4 and 1/2, right? And then I got 1 comma 6, and then I got 3 comma, that's going to be 6 as well. Okay, so let's plot those points. Let's see what that looks like here. I got 0, 4 1/2. So 0 is going to be 4 1/2, 1, 2, 3, 4 1/2. So right there. 1, 6, so 1, 6. 2, 4, 6, and 3, 6. 1, 2, 3, and 6. And you're like, okay, how does that help me? And this is the reason why I tell you guys that you should use more points, is for that reason, right? So you're going, I don't know how that is helping me, right? Where are those points? What is it supposed to look like, right? So for example, so one of the things is if I was to look at this right here, remember what I did? I shift right 2 units. So this whole thing right here shifted right 2 units, and then it went up 5 units. So I use 1, 1, shift right 2 units, and up 5 units. So this point right here went to here. So that means this piece right here is going right there. Okay, so same thing here. So if I was to look, I use -1, 1, that shifted right 2 units and up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Uh-oh, I did some kind of mistake happened right here, right? So let's see what happened here. So 1, 1, I shift right? So it should be a 1. Oh, 1, 6. And I shift up 5. Oh, because it was -1, -1. That's why. So this should be -1, -1. So that means this would still have been -1 because I only added 2. So this is actually a 4. So notice how me checking this actually made it work, made it help me, right? So let me go ahead and erase that part right there. So I went right 2 units and up 4. I mean up 5. So it should be right here. Okay, doke. So in other words, this piece right here, which should be blue, is going to be right there. Come on. Get to that spot. Ah! I won't get to that spot. Let's see if I can do it this way. Get rid of that. Let's see if you would now listen to that spot. No, you still don't want to listen to that spot. So it's not the dot. It's not me, it's you. Okay, so that's where it's supposed to be. Okay, so that is what the end result is supposed to look like. So let me go ahead and select this right here and make this dotted because that's old news. There we go. And the new one is the blue. Now, the other part that we haven't really talked about is the fact that with this function here, what you really do have is a horizontal asymptote and a vertical asymptote. Of course, I drew those totally backwards, right? So let me go ahead and draw an asymptote. So asymptotes are dotted because they're actually never touched, right? So with that being said, when you transform them, those asymptotes actually follow. So these asymptotes are actually going to be following you exactly that way as well. So it should be right there. Okay, so if you look at it, the asymptote is going to meet at the origin. So go right 2 and up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is going to be right there as well. So remember that the asymptote is actually going to follow. So let's go ahead and select those 2 and change those to blue as well, just so that, no, let's change them to green. Okay, so that means the asymptote has adjusted as well. So when we look at our choices, that is actually going to be choice C. And that's going to be choice C. And there you go. I hope that helps. Any questions, let me know. See ya. Bye.